Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. I had a wonderful email from Andrew Mapp today. Now, he emailed in saying, just passing here to congratulate you for your excellent job with your podcast. He's a programmer in Brazil and he was trying to find a podcast about technology in Spotify, and he came looking for copper and found gold when he found the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. And he went on to say some incredibly nice things about the podcast and said, I hope you get this message and keep up with your fantastic work. Andrew, I salute you, my friend, and wanted to thank you for your incredibly kind words and also taking the time to send me that message, because I think hearing from listeners all over the world could quite possibly be my favourite thing. And you know what? It makes recording 5 to 7 shows a week, editing them and publishing them all worthwhile. So Andrew Mapp in Brazil, a big thank you. Now, I've been fortunate enough to attend quite a few tech and marketing events this year, and I've seen some quite inspiring keynotes, but one theme is dominating them all, and that's storytelling and sharing of stories, just like we do on this show. Now, many of you will probably be aware of the hugely successful Wattpad. That takes everything you love about storytelling and turns it into a social, on-the-go experience. And the result is often a one-of-a-kind adventure in creation and discovery. Now, today, the global Wattpad community is made up of 65 million users. And although the company is proudly based in Toronto, Canada, the Wattpad stories transcend borders, interests and language, which is a fantastic thing. However, I learned that they were also releasing something called Tap by Wattpad, and that essentially allows users to dive into thrilling and exciting stories that reveal themselves one line at a time, just like you're reading somebody else's text messages. Now, that was enough to spark my curiosity, so I invited Taran Sakdeva from Wattpad to speak about the value of storytelling here in 2018 and beyond. And I wanted to find out why he thinks good old-fashioned written stories are one way that brands can set themselves apart from the competition. So Wattpad users are spending 30 minutes every day reading content on their desktops and smartphones and engaging with brands. And when you combine that with new social platforms and technologies focusing on compelling entertainment, Wattpad seem to be turning a community of writers and storytellers into invaluable assets. So if you love tech and you love storytelling, you should love today's episode. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to Toronto in Canada so we can speak with Taran from Wattpad. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me on. My name is Taran Sakdeva, and I am the general manager of an app called Tap by Wattpad.
Now, that is one of the largest self-publishing platforms in the world, and the company has a totally monthly audience, I believe, of 65 million people who spend more than 15 billion minutes a month using the platform. But for anyone that is listening to the show and hearing about Wattpad for the first time, can you just tell them a little about the platform, who uses it and what they use it for?
Absolutely, yeah. Wattpad is a global entertainment company. We have an app that allows people to read and share stories from all around the world. Our stories are largely serialized, fictional, written storytelling where writers will share stories one chapter at a time and build a readership of millions on millions of people on these stories. We leverage the data and insights from more than 400 million stories that have been shared on our platform. And our studios then partner with the entertainment and publishing industry to turn the best stories with built-in audiences into movies, TV shows, books, and other forms of digital media.
Fantastic. It's an incredibly cool concept. Now, I've covered several events this year, especially in the US, and one thing that I've noticed is it seems that storytelling is a reoccurring theme in all the keynotes that I've watched so far. So between the rise of gaming, new TV experiences, AR, VR, and choose your own storyline, how are you finding that technology is changing how people tell, share, and ultimately consume stories now?
I mean, storytelling it's a human experience, and as new technology and new capabilities become available, Storytelling and storytellers are the ones that are often pushing those boundaries and pushing those frontiers. So, we are playing a role in the creation of a platform where we are allowing more storytellers from all around the globe to reach massive audiences through Wattpad and now through Tap, creating a medium that allows people to make the most of mobile storytelling by creating a platform for enjoying amazing interactive chat stories.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned Tap there. So just to set the scene, can you tell me a little bit more about Tap and also where the idea for Tap came from?
Yeah, absolutely. So Tap is an app where you can enjoy really immersive, interactive chat and mobile app narratives. These are stories that make you feel like you are a kind of looking over someone as they are texting and communicating with other people through their cell phone, and are developing narratives around that perspective. People advance through those stories simply by tapping, and every tap progresses the story and the plot further. Wattpad has always been at the forefront of storytelling and mobile storytelling in general. The app, our first app, Wattpad, was all about creating the community around stories themselves and using the power of community to empower the storytelling experience. Tap is all about taking the full capabilities of what mobile phones allow, which allow for a lot more interaction, a lot more multimedia, and develop story experiences around those capabilities. So chat stories is one of the types of story that we enable, but are very much broadening our horizon and scope into the broader world of interactive stories.
So what steps were taken to develop Tap soon after its inception?
Yeah, so Tap came out of what is now Wattpad Labs.
Yeah.
It's a part of the Wattpad team that is really focused on looking at the future of storytelling and the frontiers of storytelling and exploring what that looks like. It was developed to explore the full capabilities of what mobile storytelling was all about. And we focused on the world of chat stories as a place to start and a place to evolve the world of interactive storytelling around.
It really feels like there's a bit of a movement developing at the moment. So I've got to ask, how has Wattpad turned a community of writers and storytellers into invaluable assets? And also, how has this translated into new voices for Tap?
Yeah, Wattpad has always been a platform where storytellers can build audiences and tell stories without any gatekeepers. We've built this incredible community and have over 400 million story uploads in our platform. Tap extends that even further by giving writers the capability to tell more interactive narratives with narratives that involve more multimedia that creates a much more immersive storytelling experience. And we are very much step one on that journey, where we are just exploring the possibilities of the medium and the format itself to see what forms of stories we can actually tell through platforms like Tap.
So are you finding that storytelling has shifted to short form and interactive content now?
Storytelling is always changing.
Yeah.
And we will always change with it. Storytelling is something that will grow and evolve based on the mediums that are available for people. What we use to communicate becomes a medium for storytelling naturally. So we absolutely are seeing a moment where there's a fundamental change happening in how people are communicating with each other, with how popular mobile technology has become in our lives, especially smartphones, which is something that's only really 11 years old, and are just starting to see what effects that is going to have on the broader world of storytelling.
So are there any specific types of stories that do well on Tap? And if so, what are they and why, do you think?
Yeah, we have over 300,000 stories that are available on Tap. And we find because of the interactive nature and the immersive nature of the stories, there's natural tendency for people to there's natural tendency around horror, around thrillers and stories that build a sense of suspense. We find romance and romantic stories do really well on tap as well. And we're also finding that comedy and genres that play with timing do really well on tap.
So what makes a compelling tap narrative? I'm just thinking if there's anybody listening that are going to be having a try on this and they want to get that good engagement, how do writers connect with readers in this new format?
Ultimately, a good story is a good story, and that comes from developing great characters, from developing great plot lines, and keeping people engaged. The medium provides the ability to play with how that plot is exposed, how those characters are exposed, how to set the pace of the story using interactivity, how to give readers choices in the story so that they can fork from one part of the story to another in a choose your own ending type of style. So we provide those mediums to let creators explore those different types of elements of storytelling. Ultimately, a great story comes down to amazing plot, amazing characters, and amazing exposition of both of those.
So are brands working with tap too? Because it seems like a great way to connect with younger audiences for them. Absolutely.
We have some really great brands that we are working with to tell tap stories. We have worked with the Stephen King It movie. We recently did a partnership with the Quiet Place movie, and are continually looking for brand partners to explore the world of interactive storytelling with.
So I've got to ask then, what is next for Wattpad and tap? I mean, am I right in saying that you're targeting the Asian market too and scaling globally?
For Wattpad, you're going to see more and more Wattpad stories turn into books, TV shows, films, and digital video. We just hired our first head of Asia for Wattpad Studios. We already have deep experience and a huge fan base in that region. As an example is our sort of TV5 partnership on Wattpad Presents. That was a massive success in the Philippines. And we're also investing a lot more in machine learning to help us understand stories and find the best ones from more than 400 million available on Wattpad. For tap specifically, we're innovating every day there to just create new types of entertainment experiences, new types of stories, and just driving the world of interactive storytelling forward.
I'm sure we're going to have a few people listening thinking, I'm quite curious about tap and what I can do and how I can get up and running. So can you just remind the listeners of where they can find it online, and also maybe contact a member of your team if they've got any questions at all after listening to our conversation today?
Yeah, absolutely. Tap is available for download on the App Store and on Google Play. We're also reachable through social media on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. If you have any further questions about tap or Wattpad, you can contact our press team. That's press@wattpad.com for any further questions.
One of the things that I love about what you said there is because I think storytelling has evolved so much over the years, from our ancestors that were telling stories around campfires to people, I suppose we're telling stories now around a virtual campfire. And you said there that storytelling evolves and we're going to evolve with it. And I think that's a fantastic thing. So a big thank you for coming on and sharing that story today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
I loved how Taran explained the value of storytelling in marketing and how storytelling has shifted to short form and interactive content. And also how there are specific ways that brands are crafting stories to engage audiences, both on Wattpad and beyond. I just wanted to thank him also for revealing those best practices for brands to infuse better storytelling into their marketing. Because like I've said many, many times on this show, our ancestors travelled and told stories around campfires. And what we're doing right here, right now on this podcast, is we're gathering around a virtual campfire and we're sharing our stories and learning from each other, proving that technology works best when it brings people together. So please, share your stories too. I want to read them on this podcast, so tweet me at Neil C. Hughes, email me techblogwriter@outlook.com. And I'll reply to each and every one of you, unless it's a sales pitch, of course. Now, today is one of those days that makes me realise why I love what I do. And I'd love to hear more from each and every one of you and get to know you all better and hear your stories. And I'm not just saying that, I genuinely mean it. So before I get a little bit teary and emotional, I'm going to say thanks for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.